Modern day would probably call it whole grain bread or whole wheat bread. Now, if you've done any study on health, you'll probably find out that that's the bread you should be eating anyway. The white stuff or the finer stuff, the bread of desires, is not the stuff that's considered to be the best for you. But Daniel was saying he had put away the good stuff, and now he was eating the rough stuff. So, next thing, it says, neither came flesh nor wine in my mouth. So no flesh and no wine. And again, what they said at this point is that he wouldn't be eating the things he was used to eating living in the king's court. By this time, Daniel was already living in the king's court. He was being treated as one of the princes. He had the ability to foresee. He had the ability to give directions, to interpret dreams. So he had risen to a position of authority. And he was stripping off those things, or putting away those things at that time. He abstained from the meat, he abstained from the best bread, he abstained from the wine, which the commentary states, and the other lawful pleasures of nature, to give himself up to acts of devotion and contemplation. So what we see then, first of all, that Daniel was not on a total fast. Daniel had not given up eating and drinking completely. He was still eating, but he was just limiting what he was eating. He was still drinking, but he was limiting what he was drinking. Now I know some have said, well, it was only vegetables and fruit that he ate, and he only ate water. Well, I don't see that. It says he gave up the fine things. He ate coarse, he ate plainer, he ate things. But he had given up things that he was choosing not to eat. He placed a partial restriction on his foods. And that is what the Daniel fast is about. To choose some of the things that you're going to give up during this time, and we're going to cover some of the reasons why we do that. Some of the things that you're going to be able to give up for 21 days and put aside. Now the thing I would recommend to anybody starting on a Daniel fast is decide ahead of time what you're going to give up, and then don't make it so fantastic that you can't do it. Yeah. Because if you do that, you have not only defeated the whole purpose of the fast, but you have actually set yourself spiritually into a place where you're worse off than before you started.
Yeah, that's right.
That's scripture. So when you're going to pick something, pick things that you can give up, and not something like, oh, well, you know, I'm going to go on a Daniel fast for 21 days, so I'm not going to eat any, let's see, I don't like crackles, so I'll give up crackles, and no, that's not what we're talking about. You still want to give up something that you enjoy or something that you would normally eat. You know, for most of us in this room to give up certain foods that we have never yet had and never plan on having, like tripe. How many of us ever had tripe? Most of us probably see grubs. Yeah. They're just not things that we normally eat, or haggis. Like, that's certainly not something that we commonly eat in this part of the country, thank goodness. Sheep's stomach, too, if you don't know what it is. You know, we can live without that. And we wouldn't even feel that we had deprived ourselves by doing that. So the things we want to find on a fast is something that we like, something that means something to us, but something that we will be able to leave for 21 days without finding ourselves going back in there. Because the minute you go back to it, if you go before the fast is over, you've actually ended up undoing everything that the fast was supposed to be doing and strengthening the area that the fast was supposed to be working against. So you got to be careful. At a Daniel fast, what we're talking about is giving up some of the luxuries, some of the things that we could have that are not unlawful for us to have, but we choose not to over this period of time. We voluntarily give up certain foods as a way to, number one, buffet our bodies and keep them under control. And I believe that that is the primary purpose of a Daniel fast, to buffet your body and keep it under control. The Apostle Paul writes, he says, I buffet my body, I keep it under control, lest when I have ministered to others, I myself should be a castaway. So basically what that talks about, the first purpose of a Daniel fast would be to bring my own body into subjection to a higher power or a higher authority. So when I deny my body some of its certain basic rights, if you would, when I deny myself certain foods that there's nothing wrong with having, and I like them, and I'm just denying it to myself, what I am doing is I am bringing my body to a place where it is going to be subjected to the authority of my spirit or my inner man. My inner man is deciding these things won't be eaten during this time. Now, body, obey it. So now, of course, what happens if you don't follow what you have decided, guess what? Your body says, nah, 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 I can get away with it. And I don't have to listen to you. I'm going to keep running this show. Bring on the pork. Or whatever. Your body turns around and gains the control. Now, most of us, whether we like it or not in this world, we have been trained to live by what our body is dictating. We have been trained to live according to the needs of our flesh. You never say, oh, it's cold out, go take your coat off. Your body says, I'm cold, and you go, oh, I best get a coat on, my body is crying. Got to turn the heat up now because my body is cold. Oh, got to take care of the body. The body gets up in the morning. It's too early. Oh, push the snooze. And we have learned to cater to our bodies quite well. I'm too cold. I'm too hot. It's too early. It's too late. This is not comfortable. This is not convenient. I'm not doing this. And we go, oh, okay. And the spirit man, who God created to run the whole show, the spirit, the soul, and the body, the spirit man who has contact with God, the spirit man that receives information from God, is being put in the background on hold because the body likes to run this show. Amen? Mm-hmm. So the first thing you do on a Daniel fast is you begin to buffet your body. Now you're still eating because your body has to have food. Your spirit doesn't have much use on this earth if your body dies. Amen? The body's gone, your spirit might as well leave. So the first thing you're doing, though, your spirit is here, but you are starting to regain control over your body. See, our bodies have told most of us what they're going to do, when they're going to do, whether it's good for them or not. Sort of like spoiled children. But I like smoking. But it's killing you. That doesn't matter, I like it. Okay. But I like overeating. But it's killing you. So I like it. And we go ahead and do it. Now there's a whole bunch of things I could pick on, but it's sort of the whole idea of the body is in charge, and we have to start bringing the spirit man back into the body so that the body starts submitting itself to the spirit of man, and the spirit of man submits itself to the spirit of God, and then all of a sudden the spirit of God has an open conduit to reach into this world through us. Mm-hmm. First thing, buffet our bodies. Keep it under control. Deny the lusts of the flesh. Learn to ignore the demands of the body and even hear the voice of the Spirit. See, so many of us have come to the place where we have dampened the voice of the Spirit for so long, we don't even hear it anymore, hardly. When we first did something wrong, we had these pangs of guilt. Oh, what have I done? How could I do this? Oh, man. But you know, we live in that state long enough that all of a sudden it's like, a little bit uncomfortable every so often, but nothing to worry about. Why? Because our body has learned to take charge, and we've let it. Now it becomes time to shut the body down somewhat so that we can begin to hear the voice of the Spirit more clearly. The flesh, as I said, has been used to running us, and it's going to take effort on your part to contradict your flesh. Mm-hmm. It'll take effort to contradict your flesh. When I grew up, one of the big things at that time, one of the catchphrases of the day was, well, if it feels good, do it. That's a spirit of lawlessness that has crept into a whole bunch of society. Well, it feels good. It's nobody's purpose. It's nobody's business what I'm doing. And you'll have people using that argument to try and prove something is right just because they